What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Saturday afternoon here in Arizona live stream. We have a very special guest today, all the way from down under in Australia. I've been really excited to have him on. We have a lot in common when it comes to geeking out on reef aquarium stuff, and I have a big surprise for him coming that he doesn't know about, that he's about to find out along with everyone here in the stream. So get everybody in here because it's going to be really, this is going to be the first time we've ever done this. Everybody enter the contest. So without further ado, I'm going to welcome Mr. Sam Parker from Parker's Reef on YouTube. What's going on, Sam?
Hey, Derek, how you doing, man? Thanks for having me.
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for coming. I'm really excited to have you. Everybody's been asking about you. They want you to come on. So you're here, and the good news is we don't have my sidekick with us, so that's even better. So before we get started, I'm going to tell Sam the surprise. So the surprise today is Sam is choosing the giveaway.
Ooh, that is exciting.
Everyone in the stream has to convince Sam what he needs to do, and by the end of the stream, he's going to tell you what we're giving away. So we got to have 25 people in, so we got to get more people in, guys. And try not to break my bank. Just pick whatever you want. But hopefully it's something good. We have to get it here in the United States, obviously. So yeah, try to convince Sam during the stream what you guys would like him to pick, and that's the giveaway, and that's the big surprise. So,
all right, sounds good.
Never done this before. So anyway, Sam, tell us a little bit about you. Tell us what you got into, what got you into the hobby. We talked a little bit beforehand, and it sounded like you kind of switched gears with your hobby / profession.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about how you got into the hobby and so forth.
Yeah, sure thing. I guess I've been in the hobby for about 10 years now. Never kept fish whatsoever before, as in freshwater or anything before. It all came about, my brother-in-law became a manager of a local sort of big box pet store not far away, and he became the manager of a new store that was opening. So on the grand opening day, my wife and I went there. This was before my daughter days. And we thought we'd support him just by buying this little desktop freshwater tank. Probably like I think it's probably like a 19-liter little like beta tank or something like that. And we kind of fell in love with it. And as we were mentioning before about hobbies and things I've got into, I tend to go all in whatever I'm into. I'm
the same way, man. Oh my goodness, I'm the same way.
I tend to not do things too, half-heartedly. If I get into something, I get into it. So we'd had this little 19-liter fighting fish tank on our kitchen bench, and I'm like, let's get a tank. Let's go into it. So we went to a real aquarium, which is what I thought it was at the time, and they had freshwater and saltwater items there, and we're like, oh, we got to go marine. That looks so much better. Let's get straight into that. So from there, things just kind of slipped away pretty quickly. I was at least wise enough or cautious enough to go, I'm not going to build a custom tank straight up. I need to learn the craft, because I'd had a quick sort of Google and saw that, all the warnings out there, reef keeping's so hard and it's not for everyone. And I back myself, but I also thought I don't want to go and drop, tens of thousands of dollars.
It can get expensive real fast.
That's what I'm doing. Yeah, as I found out. But so I decided just to go for a small little Red Sea Max tank, secondhand one, just to get my sort of feet wet. And we'd had that for a couple months, and I was already planning a 6-foot build. So and then things just went crazy from there.
That's awesome. Yeah, my story's kind of similar, but in the opposite sense. My dad bought me a small nano tank when I was 6 years old, and that's what got me into it. And ever since, I was just crazy. A couple of people had a couple little questions I wanted to answer real quick. Charles Galt, sure. I already have a Sky, sir. I did a full announcement of it yesterday. So if you want to take a look at my Sky stuff, take a look at my video yesterday. But we'll get into that in a little bit. Let me see what we got here. One question that's a really good question to start off with. is
Sure.
costs over there in Australia. So a lot of
Yeah,
people
yeah,
wanted me to ask you, like, how much do coral frags cost, like in general, like an average? I'm just curious,
yeah,
and it's hard to compare because we're U.S. dollars. I don't know how that coincides with
yeah. So
Australian.
we're about 70 or 75 cents. So I guess if you add an extra 25-30% onto our price, that's what it should be. Sorry, or your price plus 20-30% is Australian dollars.
Oh, okay.
That being said, in Australia, it's quite odd in that our livestock is what you guys would consider to be super affordable. All of our hardware is really expensive, and that really just comes down to literally being on the arse end of the world, I guess, in that
Yeah.
all equipment and everything has a long way to come to us. So,
Oh, I'm
and it's
sure.
despite despite Australia being, I don't know, whenever people talk reefing, Australia is kind of considered up there and probably one of the bigger nations, but realistically, our population's that small. And for whatever reason, we don't have a huge uptake of the hobby in Australia. It's not like
Hmm.
there's probably 1 in 1,000 households would have a reef tank, when it seems like in other
Well,
parts of the world that's closer to like 1 in 100.
is it was it Rookie Reefer? Is that he lives in Australia, doesn't he?
Yeah,
That
yeah, yeah.
YouTuber Rookie Reefer? Yeah. Um, yeah, people have been always saying like America has like the most expensive frags, the most expensive fish, but then
Mm-hmm.
hardware we do better. And then you go everywhere else and
Absolutely.
it's kind of the opposite. So that's why I was curious. And also, I'm curious,
Yeah,
being in Australia, are you right off the coast there, by the beach?
yeah. I mean, I'm not fortunate enough to have a beach view, but I'm about 10 minutes from some pretty iconic beaches
Are
down
you
here. That being said, we're fairway south, so there's not a lot of reef down here, or it's at
oh,
least very
okay.
temperate reef. Yeah, yeah.
A
But just coming back to your question on
Yeah,
the
go ahead.
coral frag prices and stuff, yeah, our corals and stuff here is so cheap compared to what you guys have over there in the States. Like, um, even like retail pricing at a local fish shop, a nice, and I mean like a nice, not some sort of named fancy,
Mhm.
like Walt Disney or anything like that, but just a nice standard Acropora frag, and I mean a decent frag the size of your index finger will sell at a local fish shop here for about $30 Australian, which would be about 20-25 US,
Wow.
um, and like a decent, a good sized LPS like a hammer or a torch or something, unless it's like some crazy color, will be around 60 to 80 Australian dollars, which
Mhm.
is about $50 US. And when I see the prices online for what you guys will pay in the States,
Oh yeah.
it seems we're probably running at about an eighth or a sixth of your cost for livestock. Although some of the fish vary too, because I'm not
Wow.
sure if you or your viewers know, in Australia we're allowed to import fish from pretty much anywhere in the world, but we're not allowed to import coral.
Oh wow. So it's
So
all
yeah,
it's
yeah,
all
corals. The only
propagated.
corals we're allowed to have are Australian corals. So they can be collected from the wild in Australia, but we can't import
Oh,
Indonesian
okay.
corals. Um, yeah, it's an interesting one. That being said, things have found their way here, and now considered fairly commonplace. But
Yeah, just
as
bring it on a
far as
plane.
yeah,
Just secretly bring it
yeah,
on a plane. That's what I would do.
you can. I mean, the
You could
consequences
try.
can be high if you get caught.
Yeah. So,
So
do you scuba dive? I'm just curious. Have you ever been to the Great Barrier Reef and scuba dove? That would be
yeah,
awesome.
I've been fortunate enough to get out to. I went on a trip with one of probably the major Aussie collectors, Cairns Marine. I'm not sure if you've heard of them. They're pretty well known for fish collecting. At least they do corals as well. But
Okay.
they supply worldwide, particularly some of their big like public aquarium stuff. They're the ones that can really collect some fairly large and unique fish. I was fortunate enough to go on a trip hosted by Cairns Marine, and we went out to we actually went on a couple of trips, and one of the trips was to go to a reef where they actually do collection from, and you could pick out a coral for them to
Oh
hand collect.
wow,
And
that'd be so
also
much fun.
went to it. Yeah, it was pretty
Man, that'd
cool.
be so much
Um,
fun.
we also went out to another reef where David Attenborough did his series on the Great Barrier Reef, and
Oh
we went
yeah,
out with his video production crew, and
That's
on the
sweet.
boat they use and everything. It was pretty cool. So
Yeah, that's
I
sweet.
must admit I'm not a scuba diver, but realistically the waters there, like even though we were like maybe 2 hours on the boat off the coast, like it was reef. Like you could just snorkel along the surface, and
Is
there's
it real?
corals the
Is it
size of
real deep
cars. And
there, or is it like 5,
in
10
that
feet?
section it wasn't. No,
No.
maybe 10 feet. Yeah, nice and
Yeah.
shallow.
Wow, that's sweet, man. See,
It was cool.
I've only been out of the United States one time. Um,
Okay.
I'm not a plane person. I'm learning how to
Fair
fly.
enough.
I'm learning how to fly planes, but I don't go on planes.
Shows your trust in the system.
Yeah, I'm scared to death of planes. But Australia and specifically the oceans, I've always wanted to see. Like that's something I've always wanted to do.
There's
Unfortunately,
some
I
pretty
don't
cool
know
things down here.
if I
Yeah.
can be on a plane for 20 hours or whatever it is. That would be rough for me.
Yeah, you don't want to take a nice Xanax or something, just go to sleep and
Yeah.
wake up and you're here.
Yeah, well, I'll need something stronger than Xanax. I would need we need to get an anesthesiologist on there and just knock me out. So have you been outside Australia? Have you been to the United States before?
I haven't been to the United States. I've been to a few countries. United States is somewhere I want to go, particularly for the reefing hobby, just because it's kind of the mecca of it all, I guess. So
Yeah.
but yeah, I've been to I've been to Japan, Indonesia, Fiji, New Zealand. I think that's all. I wouldn't consider myself a jet setter, but I have been all around Australia, and I like to holiday at home. But on the same hand, I'm pretty keen to get over to the States to one of those big
Well,
reefing shows you guys have.
I'm not 100% sure, but isn't that roughly the size of the United States? I mean, it's a big country, isn't it?
It's a big country. We could even be bigger.
Yeah, you guys.
Have a quick Google.
There goes my camera.
we've got a lot of. Oh, you're back. There you go.
Yep.
We're a big country, but there's quite a lot that's not all that usable.
A lot
as
of
well.
empty.
We've got a lot of emptiness. Yeah, it's looking. Yeah, we're about the same size. Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
Carrie. I see your message. Cade. They all want you to give us a Cade aquarium. I don't even know what it is.
You don't know what a cade aquarium is?
I don't.
Okay, yeah, cade's just coming into the American market. Well, it's been there for a little while now. It's an all-in-one. I say it's all-in-one. It's a pre-made reefing system. I'm setting up one as a frag tank in my fish room now. They're a great tank. They just come fully assembled. You open it. It comes in 2 boxes. One box has the tank. The other box has the fully assembled cabinet with the sump already in position. Plumbing's all cut, positioned, glued. You literally screw it together,
great.
put the water in, and you're off and going. Yeah, they're great.
Oh my goodness, I'm reading some of these comments. Are you able to see the comments, by the way? You should be able to.
I can't. No.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, hang on. Maybe
a setting
sorry,
so you can see.
I can. Yeah, there's a box there. I can see. I can now.
There's some funny
Awesome.
ones. Someone wants you to get me a new camera because my camera will keep going off, by the way. So just be aware.
That's all good. We know you're there.
Yeah. Let me see. So I have a lot of questions, and I noticed a lot of people are asking questions, but I do have a couple of questions. So I want to start with auto testers, and the reason I want to start with auto testers is because if you can see up in the upper right-hand corner, right here, I have embedded that into my streams for roughly, 2 months maybe. I have had nothing but trouble with the Reefbot. Now, I just saw you posted the Reefbot video. I haven't looked at it yet.
Yeah.
I
got my hands on a Reefbot for a month to play with.
Yeah, so is it a version 2 or a version 1? That's the question.
Well, that's where things get a bit awkward. It appears to be a version 1 point something.
Okay.
Because I noticed when I went digging around, it had a version 2 circuit board. It had the version 2 water connections in that they were sitting inside the body, not sticking out.
Oh, yeah, mine stick out.
Yeah, but it didn't have the reset button, which I believe is something the version 2 does have. And I honestly hope that it's the version 1 syringe arm, because it was a bit agricultural. If that's the improved one, that has me concerned. I'm really hoping that was the early non-improved one.
So the Reefbot, this one if I recall, forgive me, the Mastertronic you had got from a friend to borrow to play with. The Reefbot, is
Correct.
this a
Yeah, yeah.
permanent? Is it a permanent staple now, or is this also a borrow?
No, no. That came about from the Mastertronic review. I had a lot of people saying that the Mastertronic looks like a new and improved Reefbot,
Mm.
and that I should do a video on the Reefbot. And I'm like, yeah, no worries. I'll just pull one out of the back cupboard. And
Yeah,
thankfully,
I tell that to all my YouTube
thankfully,
subscribers. Yeah, I got a
yeah,
whole
people are like, you
storage bin
should
of
review this.
stuff. Mm.
Yeah, I'll just go print some more money and we'll go buy one. But thankfully, one of my channel viewers is like, "Oh, we've got a Reefbot, and you can test it for a while if you want to have it for a
Sweet.
month or two." And what was better is they live about 30 minutes from here, so I promptly went over there and got it and set it up. And yeah, I've got to say, there was a couple of things I didn't like about the Reefbot, but despite the horror stories I'd heard from some of my other colleagues on this space, it actually worked pretty well for me. I was fairly impressed.
So yeah, so so how do I start with this? I bought with my own money 2 of them.
Yes.
The first one I had was about a month or 2 production model after the production. Does that make sense? Sorry, I bought it
Yes.
about 2 months after it came out. Then the one I got for my other tank, I got just recently, maybe about 7 months ago or so.
Mhm.
And what I can tell you is from day one, the first one was just completely a pain in the butt. And what's good about what you did is you waited a long time to get it, so they worked out a lot of the bugs. And I've said this on
Yeah,
my
absolutely.
channel, and I've said this to Reef Kinetics. They have improved on their design, they have improved on their software, and I commend them for that. I really do. When I first got it, the app was so slow that I couldn't really do anything. I'd have to sit here and wait for 5 minutes till something would happen.
Oh,
They
yeah, that's
finally
terrible.
got new servers and it started fixing it. Then I had the dreaded needle bend where the thing just bent all the way down, and then I had to fix that. Again, small issues. I was still not saying Reefbot sucks. I was still on the bandwagon. I was okay with it, and it was
Yes.
testing and doing everything I wanted it to do, and it was accurate, and I was pretty happy with it. Then I stopped getting notifications from the app. This is when the wheel started turning that this thing sucks. So I did not get any notifications. I didn't know when it did a test. I didn't know when it was empty. I was on the phone with them all the time asking them. They kept saying it's fixed and it wouldn't be fixed. I was like, this is ridiculous. Then all of a sudden it started working, just out of the clear blue. I started getting notifications. I'm like, holy cow, they fixed it. And it has been working ever since. So I wonder if they
Okay.
maybe changed the server here in Arizona. I don't know if there's like a West
Yeah,
Coast and
actually.
East Coast server. But anyway, then all hell broke loose. So have you had a chance? I haven't looked at the video. Have you had a chance to open up the back and look at it in the back?
Yeah, it did. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so there's a small T. I don't know if it is on your
Yes.
version. My version has a
Yes.
small T, and that small T goes up to the stepper motor, and then it
Yes.
goes. I think it pushes water out and pulls water in, if I recall. I don't remember exactly.
Sure.
That broke on mine, on both of my reef
Yeah.
bots,
Yes. A
and
bit of a flooding.
a bit. so so it started going all over the place underneath my tank or underneath my reef bot. I opened up the
Yes.
lid and it squirted everywhere, all over everything.
Oh,
Because it was the
that's no
stepper
good.
motor and it was trying to get all the water from my RO into the unit and it couldn't because I guess the sensor didn't work or something, so it just started spraying water
Yeah.
everywhere.
Oh,
So I was
man.
like, "Oh my god." I remember the day because it ruined like half of my electronics. Like there was almost a
Yeah,
fire in my garage.
that's
Anyway,
no good.
that's when Reefbot Sucks started. And then, of course,
Very cool.
literally a week later, the same exact thing happened to the new one. So it broke the little T. Then, of course, last week, it did it again after I've replaced the T now twice.
Oh,
So
oh, yeah, that's not good.
this is why I want a Mastertronic. Not because it's better than the Reefbot in any fashion, that
I think it is. It's definitely
maybe
a
it won't
polished version
break.
of the Reefbot.
Maybe it won't flood my house.
If nothing else, the Mastertronic has a leak sensor, so I mean, it will at least kill power if it detects water in the base of it.
Exactly. So that's my story in a nutshell. So I haven't looked at your video, but what are your thoughts on it? I mean, honestly.
Honestly, for me, it worked a charm. That being said, the alkalinity and calcium both read high, but it was consistent. So like the calcium was constantly 60 ppm out from what I was seeing. But I mean, in fairness, I didn't load the reagents into it. It came to me already preloaded. So I can't tell whether that was done perfectly, if there's any contamination or anything like that. But even if there wasn't 60 ppm, as long as it's consistent, I can live with that. If it tells me that it's 500, I know it's 440, totally fine. The app, app, whilst I didn't have issues with the timing, it was quite responsive. In fact, it was very responsive. It just was not intuitive. I found myself going around in circles trying to find things all the time. And like I had it for 3 weeks, and I thought after a week or two I'd kind of get my head around it, and I did not. I still ended up going through the same menu pages maybe 6, 7, 8 times before finding the magical little door that would take me to the section I needed to go to.
Yeah, I don't know if people have seen it, but it's probably gonna be blurry. So what my app used to do, and I was checking it right now just to kind of confirm, is it would continuously flip to the same page over and over and over and over again. It would never go to any other pages. It looks like they fixed that because I haven't had that issue in a long time. But yeah, the app has always been kind of the make or break for me. I haven't seen the Mastertronic app because I don't have a Mastertronic. So, that's the thing is I know Jonas personally. I've spoke to him a lot. I know I had Eric on my stream at one point. Very bright guys, very nice people. They really care about their products. They care about their customers. Unfortunately, I got the opposite from Reef Kinetics. I've met them at some shows, and again, I have no problem saying this now. At the beginning, I wouldn't say this, but they're kind of money-grubbing, pompous people. Like I wish I can say it in a nicer term, but when I call them for support, it's like too bad. It's like we don't know, sorry. And Jonas is always there to help. Eric is always there to help. So I'm really excited to get the Mastertronic only because I'm getting rid of the Reefbot. And if you haven't heard the story by now, when I get the Mastertronic, the Reefbot is going to be destroyed on live camera.
Oh, wow.
With probably, I haven't decided with what, probably a sledgehammer. We haven't decided yet.
Going to go full Office Space on it.
That's correct.
Like they did with the photocopier.
That's correct. Luckily, I have 2 of them. So,
I guess, I mean, people have different experience with different products. I know personally a few people down here who would do the same thing with an Alcatronic, and would potentially say the same thing about the company as you said about Reefbot or the experiences they had with the Alcatronic. So I guess in Australia, the Mastertronic came in with a little bit of skepticism because there's a few very loud people down here, let me say, that were probably fairly vocal with their experience with the Alcatronic. That being said, there was probably 10 to 20 times those number of people who had them working a charm. But you know how these things go. It's always the squeaky wheel that we hear. So that being said, if to level the playing field there, the actual Reefbot that I tested, when I picked it up off my channel viewers, they said that the first time they got it, they plugged it in, it caught on fire.
Oh, God.
And like, I don't just mean it let out a little bit of smoke from the circuit board, like it ignited, like it went up.
Oh my God. Well, that's my point. I'm going to bring up a point after you finish what you're saying, but that's my point.
Yeah, look, in fairness to them, they said they contacted the company and they said that they were awesome. They sent them a brand new one and they could keep whatever was left of the other one as spare parts if they ever needed it and whatnot. And then they had an issue with it flooding at one point in time, but that got sorted. And like I said, I got to play it for 3 weeks. I found it to work a charm.
Yeah.
Would I expect it to work like a charm forever? No, these things break, I've been a long time user of KH Guardians, had one of the first ones in Australia. I've even been credited with some of the firmware updates because I worked with Dr. Chen on some of the software updates to make it a better system. And Man, I've had those flood and do some crazy things too.
Well, it goes, you brought up the point I was going to say is when you look at the two products, the Mastertronic hasn't been out that long. That's one thing. A lot of customers,
absolutely.
a lot of people don't have it, right? So we can't give it a gold star right now because we don't know.
No, of course not.
But the Reefbot, I've had for a while.
Yes.
I've had it for a long time. You had it for a month.
Yes.
Okay.
Sure.
I can assure you with absolute certainty that I'm going to say from everywhere I read, everyone I speak to, after about 6 months is when people have problems. And those problems are severe. Either fires, which you just mentioned, floods that ruin everything. Yes. And that's a big problem, and that's why I tell people not to buy it anymore. I used to say, give it a chance. Now I just say, for the amount of money that it costs, it's not worth it. It's just not worth it. For the Alcatronic statement you made, I had an Alcatronic for quite a while, and I had a lot of issues with it. You're absolutely right. But I've seen this opposite too. I've seen people that have a far superior, experience with it.
Yes.
So it's like I said, it's a mixed bag. But with the Reefbot, I find that mixed bag is full of bad things most of the time.
Fair enough.
A majority of the time. Let's see. Someone had a good question. Speaking of which, guys, we have 23 people entered into the contest. I'm not giving away anything unless we get 25. And because Sam's choosing anything, you guys got to get some people in here to get on this contest. You got 15 more minutes, and we need 2 more people. All right. So anyway, yes, Bossy Derek. So, GHL. You brought up GHL. Well, no, you brought up the KH Guardian. I apologize. That's not GHL, is it?
No, KH Guardian's a standalone product. That was the original automated alkalinity tester.
Yeah, I've heard some great things about that unit. What's his face that makes it? Did you say that Dr. Chang? Is that his name?
Yeah, Dr. Bridge is the company, the creator guy is David Jen. He's a doctor. He's got PhDs and all sorts of different things.
That's his name. I spoke to him a few times, I think.
Yeah. It's just feels like a real. What I like about it, and I guess I don't know if it's because I've been around it for so long and I've pulled them apart and hacked them and done all sorts of crazy things with them. I understand the machine front to back. I understand absolutely everything it does. So it feels like an extension of my body. So I know the machine in and inside out. And
I'm so glad you said that.
There's so glad you said that. Processes where some data goes in and then it just does some magic sprinkle dust and then comes out with something else. It makes sense to me, and there's sort of nothing sort of hidden away. You can see all of the steps in action, and I like that. But others not so much.
Yeah, well, you brought up the perfect point that I want to mention, and I really love that you said this. So everyone, Sam said that the Guardian is like an extension of his body because he knows it so well, right? So I say that about Neptune, and people get me pissed at me, right? They get pissed at me. The people that don't like Neptune, which there's a good amount, which is fine. I know Neptune, so it's hard for me to, just go and say I'm gonna go get GHL now, right? Or I'm gonna go get Felix or all these other controllers, right? Because I know I've been doing Neptune for 20 years. I know it. I know it so well, and I can help people. So it's not necessarily a bias. It's more of I'm an expert on it, and that's why I talk about it and help people with it. Which Absolutely. You would do the same thing if someone called you and said, "Hey, can you help me with this Neptune?" And you're like, "I don't know what I'm doing." Or you would say, "I don't know," and then they go, "Well, what? Do you don't like Neptune?" You'd be like, "No, it's not that. It's that I don't know it." Right? Or you would say,
exactly.
I have a Guardian here. I can teach you about the Guardian.
Yeah, for sure.
So going into that statement, I don't know your experience with Neptune. I don't even think you have Neptune, if I read it right.
I don't have a Neptune. They are available in Australia. I saw a couple of comments about people asking if they are in Australia. They're pretty expensive. What's always been the Achilles heel of the Apex in Australia is the power bar. We only have the old version of the power bar, so I think it's the EB6. And stock of those is always really difficult. So it's kind of hard to build an automated system if you can't get power bars to turn things on and off. And then there's been a couple of issues with some power bars catching on fire and doing things like that. There's been a few issues there. So their reputation in Australia is I mean, it's probably no different to America. People either love them or they hate them, depending on what experience they've had. I've had no experience. Well, I should say no. I played with one for about 3 months. But it was a fairly vanilla experience. I didn't have any exceptional moments of wisdom or any fires or floods or anything. So I'm fairly neutral on the Apex grounds.
Yeah, I get, well, you're a YouTuber like me, man. We get trolls. We get crazy, stupid people that go at me. It's just like, I'm just trying to help people. Just like you love the hobby and you're trying to help people. And people just go nuts on you. But anyway, so what's your opinion overall with like controllers? Because I haven't seen a lot of videos from yours on controllers. So are you an anti-controller guy, or do you see no need to have them? I'm just curious because obviously you're on the Reef automation stream. So a lot of people want to know, like, how are you automating things if you are, and how do you check on your tank if you are? I'm curious as well.
Yeah. I wouldn't say I'm anti-controllers. I am number one ticket holder of, I would love to have an aquarium controller. My reservation is, I feel like the aquarium controller market is probably about 15 years behind the game. I just feel like it's very locked down. When you compare it to something like home automation, where devices, I mean, obviously it's a much bigger market, but devices are considerably cheaper. They can do considerably more. And I just find it, I guess maybe in the last 12 to 24 months, we're starting to see boundaries pushed a little bit further with controllers, but particularly now that we've got automated testing and things coming into the mix. Before that, people would tell me their controller does everything. And it was like monitoring their pH and it turned like their cabinet light on. And I'm like, no, that's not doing it for me. I want a controller that measures, whatever parameters in the tank, and then will change the color of my Philips Hue bulbs in my lounge room to a red color when something's critically wrong. So I don't just sit there watching TV thinking everything's good. And they just don't like you sending webhooks and stuff out of their system. They want to keep everything in the ecosystem. And I get, for security reasons, because I know there was that issue with the casino or whatever getting hacked into through an aquarium controller, so things get locked down. But that's the part that when it comes to technology, I'm a kind of guy that likes to almost play with it like Lego. I like to, plug things in from one brand into another brand and make that happen. And at the moment, I feel the only way I can do that is to make my own bespoke sort of controllers and using cloud platforms to do that. So I'm fortunate enough that I have the time and training to do such things. But geez, it would make my life a lot easier if a controller would allow me to do that.
So you bring up a great point. I don't know if you know, but I own a home automation company. That's what I do for a living. What do you guys have Crestron out there in Australia? Have you heard of Crestron?
We do. It's not big out here, but we do. Yeah, I have heard of it.
How about Control 4, Savant? Are those big out there? Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't say any of them are big, but I mean, I've heard of them in this space myself, just as a consumer, and I've heard of them. But it's definitely out here, and that's what you work with.
Yeah, so I'm a certified Crestron programmer. I've been programming Crestron for over 18 years. That's what I do for a living.
Sure.
And you are 100% right. I mean, Crestron is open. I mean, you could do anything you want with it.
Yeah.
You can even hook up your Crestron to your aquarium if you want to. The reason I chose not to is because I like to have my aquarium separate from my Crestron. Also, Crestron doesn't offer any liquid measurement tools that you can facilitate with it. It's all relay and I/O and contact closures. So like I couldn't really put pH on my Crestron unless there was, like you said, a webhook or something that Neptune would let you dial into, which they don't, unfortunately. So I totally agree. And GHL kind of has that. But I don't know how much you've been involved with GHL, but As a computer programmer, I was lost the minute I got it. Like it was just too confusing for me, you know?
Definitely looks daunting. I am hoping to play with a GHL. I played with like a Proflux 3 or something 5 years
Hmm.
ago. Um, and was fairly uninspired by it. But that was back in the era when you were measuring temperature and pH, and
Hmm.
realistically, I didn't care about a controller measuring temperature and pH. I am interested to play with one again when the ion probe comes out, just because I
When,
want to complete my yeah. No, these things
when,
take a lot longer than they should, but the Trident took a while too. So these things take time. I want to get my hands on that just so I can complete the circle of automated testers, and I can then hopefully make a decision on which way I'm going to go with it.
yeah, I can tell you from my experience, I had one of the first Tridents that were ever produced. I also
Yes,
have one of the first Skies that were ever produced. I actually have like probably the second or third one that was ever produced. Um,
nice.
and the Trident, I can tell you with absolute certainty, it's been flawless for me. I did have an issue, which I mentioned on my stream last week. The first issue I ever had with it, which was about after a year and a half, and it's been great. But one thing that you kind of brought up is it's locked. You have to have an apex with it, right?
Yeah,
Which
you
is
do.
odd
Yeah.
because they are starting to release more products now that are
Mhm.
standalone, which is really good. It's a great idea. I think that's fun. I think that's fantastic. And I don't know if you know, but I announced it yesterday. I am now officially a Neptune dealer. So my company
Right.
actually can sell Neptune now. So I'm trying to be as unbiased as I can. I'm going to continue to do so for my
Sure.
for my subs, but because, like I said, because I feel I'm an expert with their product, and I thought it was the right product to sell. Now, if I became an expert of GHL, then I'd sell GHL, right? It's not like
Yeah,
I'm
of course. Yeah,
biased
yeah.
toward it, you know. I
No,
don't want
no,
to
it
go
makes
into a
sense. You got to recommend
customer's
what you use.
yeah, I don't want to go into a customer's house and have to warranty my work and not have a clue what I'm doing. It's like, I don't know.
Yeah, yeah,
I just throw this
totally.
stuff in there. So control
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
so you're building your own do-it-yourself type controllers, huh?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's not like I'm ripping out a Raspberry Pi or anything and doing anything like that. I'm just I guess I'm using things like a if this then that platform to have devices like whether it be Reefbot or Mastertronic or something else, or even the KH Guardian. I can use APIs to pull into that, grab out the data. I can then switch on and off outlets and things, or turn change statuses of other devices based on
Yeah.
that. That being said, I honestly feel like there's not a huge amount of equipment that I actually need to talk to each other.
Hmm.
I kind of look at it almost like
I'm the
a
complete
stereo
opposite.
system.
I'm the complete
Yeah, yeah,
opposite.
fair enough.
I'm
Um,
I'm if I can control it, it's going in there. Even if I don't ever touch it, it's going in there.
yeah, I'm all for controlling, but you know what I mean. Like I don't like a switch in your skimmer cup or something that turns off your skimmer. I don't really need it to do anything other than turn off the skimmer. I don't need it to
Right.
control the RO or change the lights or anything like that. So things like that, I'm happy to build the circuit just to keep it to the skimmer and maybe send a push notification to tell me that the skimmer cup's full, but I wouldn't have it changing anything else. Um, but yeah, I guess I sort of look at it like high-end stereo equipment. Like you wouldn't go an all-in-one boom box with a vinyl and a cassette and a CD and an MP3 player. You'd get separate components and you'd build it up in a
Maybe.
rack. And
I mean,
some of
I
those may talk to
don't
each other, some of them may not. But each to their own. I'm curious to see where controllers go in the next few years. Like I said, I do feel in the last 12 months things are maybe starting to catch up a little bit.
know.
I think maybe a little bit of extra competition there. I do feel on a world scale, or at least mainly an America scale, Neptune had a pretty good monopoly there for a while.
Yeah.
GHL sort of always lurking in the shadows. They were popular in Europe. I think things like the one from Coral View, whether it's sort of a different controller, but it's
Mm.
just providing a little bit more competition. And I think competition is good for regardless of which brand you fly the
I
flag for.
totally agree.
It pushes them all to do better,
Hmm.
and that's a good space to be in.
except for Reefbot. Okay, so my question, you kind of started talking about it a little bit, is competition. So there's a
Yep.
huge, this just came out yesterday, so I'm gonna let it die down a little bit. But the Sky came out, and I'm excited to talk to Paul next week. He's gonna be on my stream from Neptune, and a lot of people are kind of upset that it's expensive, and
Yeah, sure.
I get it. I get the price point, but I also don't get it. It's like Neptune's not really a lighting company, right? They're trying to compete.
Yep.
Let's be honest. They're trying to compete with Ecotech, and they're trying to compete probably with the Philips Coral Care now. It's a big time light now,
Yeah.
and they sell the light more expensive. It's like I would think if you want to really get competition going there, you would sell it for 50, even $100 less than the competition. You'd sell a ton of them. I don't know. I'm not a sales marketing guy. I've had two of them running in my tank, and I think they're phenomenal lights. And I'm not being just biased. I think they're fantastic. Then again, I've never had any other lights really, so it's hard for me to compare. Um, but for me, I love the lights. Are they worth 800 and almost $900 with brackets? I don't think so. I'm just
Yeah,
being
fair enough.
honest. Um, but I'm going to sell
Yeah.
them. I'm going to sell them, and I'm going to tell people how fantastic they are because they really are fantastic. But is it going to be hard to sell? Absolutely. It's going to be tough to sell them. So we'll see.
I honestly actually I don't mind the price point.
Okay.
Sure, would I love everything to be cheaper? Absolutely. That being said, would I pay higher for a higher price for a product that has not compromised in any way? Absolutely, every day of the week. If it's within the budget, I mean, I'm not going to spend $10,000 on a light because it's got a titanium bracket rather than an aluminium one or something like that. But to a point, there is nothing wrong with when your camera comes back. There's nothing wrong with building a premium product. Now, you've got your hands on one. I've personally not seen one, so I don't mind the premium price if it is a premium product with premium results. And yes, it may put some people's nose out of joint because they wanted to buy them, puts them out of their price range. That's fine. It is a product that Neptune have released. It's not a public service. You don't have to buy their lights. They will produce them. You can buy them or not. That's up to you. That's fine. But I'm all for the price if it's a quality product.
It's so interesting because back in 2001, guys, back in 2002, guys, when Neptune was kind of becoming popular at that point, I don't know if Sam was in the hobby at the time, but Neptune was like the Rolls Royce of aquarium products. Like everyone was like, "Oh my God, you got a Neptune? Oh my God!" Now there's just so many people that bash them constantly, and it's upsetting because their products are great products. And again, there's a lot of other products that are great products. Don't get me wrong, except for the
Yeah.
Reefbot. But the point I'm making is, um, for people just to, after a day, they don't even have a clue what it looks like. They've never had it in their hands. They've never used it, are just continuously going at them. And I'm like, guys, I've had it for 5 months. I know all about it, and I can tell you it's a fantastic light. So
And that's what you can do is wait for it to come out into the wild and people will see them. I can speak from personal experience with the Philips Coral Care. When I first heard that the Gen 2 was announced and I read the spec sheet, I was incredibly underwhelmed. And I thought, what a waste of time. They've taken this long to come out with the second version of this light, and it's 170 watts and it's huge, and it's only got a couple of channels of colors. You can think, like, man, they've just missed the boat by a mile. Then I got my hands on one to test it. And I was like, holy hell, put me down for 3. This was the prototype one I had to test. I'm like, as soon as these are available, put my name down for 3. I never thought I'd run a tank without halides. That convinced me within an hour of opening the box. I'm like, these are the lights I have to have. And I have not gone back. They are incredible. So yeah, I can relate to both sides of your point there.
Yeah.
I probably, not that I would have been that vocal, or maybe I was a little bit. I don't know. When the Philips Coral Care came out, I thought it was
I'm
a
super
piece of
vocal.
trash.
I'm super.
And then I got
Guys,
my hands on it, and I
I
thought it
would
was incredible. So
trust me, guys. I'd be telling you if the sky is garbage right now. I'm not afraid to say so. I've already said my dislike for the flow sensors that Neptune makes. There's a lot of stuff that I've had discussed for, and there's a lot of stuff I really love. And I only tell my subs the stuff that I really love, that I think they're gonna love. And I've never seen the coral cares, but I got a lot of subs that have coral cares, and they love them. They love them, and that's awesome.
they're a very impressive light. Yeah, yeah,
For Philips, the company, which I used to sell their TVs, which were garbage. It's kind of cool to see that they got something good with their light bulbs. They're really good with lights. Overall,
they are.
Philips.
They are. And I believe the story was there that it was an employee of Philips that was into reef hobbies that
Oh,
was
really?
keen on making the light and sort of proposed it to their line managers who took it further up, and they eventually gave them a budget to start with it. And next thing you know, it sort of took off, and they learnt from Gen 1 and then came out with Gen 2. And yeah, there's lots of things I like about it. There's a few things I don't like about it, but what I like probably the most is that it's almost a no compromise light, in that they haven't built it to be on trend or not sort of they're not copying what other manufacturers are doing. They're just
There's
like,
very
this
little
is what we
advertising
think.
too. There's very little advertising.
No, they don't need to. They're like, well, this is the reef light that we think is where it should be. We don't really care if you think it's big, it's ugly, it's expensive,
Right.
it doesn't do this, doesn't do that, because this is what we think it is. You either like it or you don't. And
Right.
I can appreciate that.
Neptune released this totally video. They must have hired a video someone that makes movies to make that sky introduction. Wow. It was
Got all out.
crazy.
Had a bit of time in COVID lockdown, maybe.
Yeah. But to your point, you said you don't scuba dive, but you've seen coral reefs in action in front of you.
Snorkel, yeah, for sure.
And I can tell, and again, I've never seen the coral care guys, but when I went from my Radion Gen 4s, I said this yesterday, to my skies, it literally looked like I was scuba diving now. It looks so much like sunlight penetrating now into my tank, and it never used to look like that. It's so much more natural looking. And that's what I love about the light, in general. All the other stuff is like, okay, cool, bells and whistles, I love bells and whistles, right? But the fact that it made me say wow when I put it on, I knew that this light was a good light. That's how I looked at it.
I think there's definitely a shift towards these broader panels with more dispersed LEDs rather than going for your single point.
Right.
And it gives a much more even spread of light, much more T5 or metal halide-like, or sun-like. And I personally, that's where I like it. I don't mind having a little bit of disco lights at the end of the day, to really make the LPS pop. But throughout the bulk of the day, I wouldn't go over 20,000 Kelvin. I like a nice, crisp white color in my tank majority of the day. And I was finding the trend with modern LEDs was really just to go disco, and it didn't work for me. And I must admit, my Frag tank, I just set up my first ever set of Radians. I've never had Radians before. And I work at my local fish shop on Saturdays, which in Australia was yesterday. And he's got a display tank there. He's got a display tank there with Gen 5 Blues down one side and Gen 5 Pros down one side. Personally, I do not understand the Blues whatsoever. They just do not go wide enough at all. I reckon we sell 9 Blues to 1 Pro. The Pros are a beautiful light. They do the job really well.
Aren't the Blues cheaper?
Not down here, same price.
Oh. Yeah, I thought the Blues were cheaper.
And we're talking like down here, they were $1,300 Australian per light. Like, they're expensive.
Well, I've had Gen 1 all the way through 4. So I've owned all 4 of them. I didn't get the 5 because I was waiting for the Sky, first of all. And second of all, the 4s were doing their job. What's the point in replacing them, right? But you're right.
Absolutely.
They're very blue. They are. They're blue.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Which is fine if that's what you like. Didn't work for me.
And I don't know how well the Gen 5 Pros look in terms of the Gen 4's 4 Pros in terms of coloration, because I've never seen them, you
Sure.
know. Um,
Yeah.
but you know, I see Brett on here. It's good that Brett's come on here because he got in a little tiffle with me this morning, and I want to go over this a little bit with you. We
Don't bring
mentioned
me into
this.
this.
Oh yes, this is exactly what you were saying, and I'm curious what your thoughts are. Um,
Sure.
People have not seen what you can do with the sky. Um,
Sure.
and they're all like getting on, oh, there's no control, there's no this, there's no that, da, 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 da. And I'm like, I told Brett, I'm like, Brett, you don't even know what you can do with it yet. So
Yeah. Yeah.
what Sam was saying, I know I'm talking over you, but what Sam was saying is, um, just wait. You guys got to bash stuff. You haven't even given it a chance to find out what's going on with it. So anyway,
Yeah.
that's my sky spiel.
I think it's almost a physics thing. The more something gets pushed, the more resistance it will. So,
That's what
like you
Terrence always
mentioned that
says.
you mentioned that they came out with like a Hollywood-esque promotional video, which is a
Uh-huh.
big push. So you got to expect a big resistance, and that's exactly
Uh-huh.
what you've got. At the end of the day, if the product is that good, once it gets out into the wild and people start seeing it, it will speak for itself. So
Hmm.
you know, I wouldn't waste too much energy fighting for it or against it. I'd just wait till it's out there. If
Exactly,
it's great,
guys.
it'll do
You
it. If
you
it
heard it
doesn't,
from you heard it
straight away.
from you've heard it from the two biggest YouTubers right now.
Mr.
Wait.
Beast and Casey Neistat. No.
So that's what brings me to my next question, and I'm gonna start to look at some questions on the stream too. I've kind of been ignoring people. I apologize. It's hard to do a stream and talk to people and look at pictures and all this other stuff. Um, so getting kind of away from the sky, getting away from Reefapalooza, which is
Sure.
awesome that we have shows now. By the way, I can't
Absolutely.
wait to go to one. But where is Reef Dudes? Um, what's I mean, when you do your videos, I mean, what is your? It's more of a question for me, I guess. But what's your motivations? Like, what are some things that you like to show people, and why? And what what's some cool stuff that you're doing over at your YouTube
Yeah, sure.
channel? Let's kind of hype up your YouTube a little bit.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, I guess what I really like is to show. There's probably three things I really love on the channel the most, and one thing that's a bit of a evil necessity, I guess. The three things I love the most are showing people what's going on with my tanks. I've put a lot of time, money, and effort into my tanks, and particularly over the last 12 months, it's kind of been really hard to have people over to your house.
Right.
So being able to showcase my tanks to the world is validation for me that I've done the right thing and spending all that time and money and effort on the tank, and get some really nice feedback, and people are really impressed and inspired. It is nice to wake up and you see comments or messages saying that my series, whether it be on my dream reef tank or whether it be on like my complete entry line idiot proof reef tank that I did, which was like meant to be the most simple, non-automated, well, not non-automated, just simple to care for tank. Because normally when people see my dream tank and it's got automations and gadgets galore, they feel like that's the only way you can do a reef tank. When I did a
I
series to
totally
show that
agree.
we can do things simple as well. You see have people watching those videos and leaving comments saying that inspired them to get back into reefing. Like that
That's awesome.
absolutely makes my day. Yeah, I really get a kick out of that. Apart from that, I also really love to showcase to the world some of my friends' reef tanks, some of my friends' fish stores, wholesalers, coral collectors, things like that. A lot of these people work pretty hard behind the scenes, and being able to wave a camera around and ask a few questions and showcase that to the world, and just give them a bit of validation that they're doing incredible work and that they are appreciated, is really cool. I love it.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've been thinking of going to the only good local fish store here and doing a video at some point. I got to ask their permission and see if I can do it.
Sure.
But unfortunately, and I've said this on my stream a lot, and I hate saying this, but Arizona is one of those places that there's a hobby here. There's a big amount of there's a lot of people that love the hobby here, but no one talks to each other. No one interacts with
Yeah,
each other. There's just I don't know what it is here in Arizona. People are not friendly. People don't
yeah,
like
yeah.
talking to people. Um, I don't know what it is. Maybe because we're all cowboys here. I don't know. But in any
You got
event,
to stop wearing all your spurs around. That's the problem.
yeah. Oh, you should see if I wear certain things, people go nuts here. But it's like it would be nice to have people. I've always asked. I've wanted people over to my house to show off my stuff, but it's just with the COVID. Obviously, I can't. But once that goes away, I've been wanting to have a lot of people here and show off some stuff and have a little get together. But I only know like 3 or 4 people here that I would want in my house. The rest of
Yeah,
them,
I get you.
especially the ones that say, we're going to come to your house and hunt you down, those are the people I don't want in my house.
Probably don't want to invite them in. No,
Yeah.
definitely not.
Oh.
One thing I could recommend, and I don't know whether you get the time. I've been fortunate enough over the last 12-ish months, particularly during COVID, I've been able to work Saturdays at my local fish shop, which I say it's my local, it's about an hour drive from here, so it's not probably the most local.
Yeah, ours is
But
about
it's
an
owned,
hour away too.
yeah, it's owned by a good friend of mine. And funnily enough, during lockdowns here in Australia, I'm not sure if it was like this in America or not, but aquarium things went kind of crazy here. Like, I guess people being at home a lot more, they either wanted to set up a tank or they wanted to improve the tank they had. So the aquarium business went gangbusters. Like, it really took off.
I
And
think
was
it did
quite
here.
difficult for my friend.
I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
I could tell you my business did, like the home
yeah,
automation
right.
and
Yeah, I
TVs
can
and home
imagine.
theaters. It's
Oh,
insane.
yeah. It
Yeah.
would have, absolutely. So the industry was going busy, and my friend was he was run off his feet. I was literally locked in the house, sitting where I am now, with my wife working next to me, my daughter homeschooling next to her, 7 days a week. You needed some space, so we were chatting one day, and he's like, "Geez, I just wish I could get some help." And I said, "Geez, I just wish I could get out of the house." So next thing you know. He was able to arrange. We had to have, during this particular part of lockdown, you had to have work permits. You're only allowed to leave your home if you were,
Oh wow.
if you were considered to be. I'm not quite sure. I guess because it was animal services, it was good and allowable.
So yeah, I lost you for a second. There you are.
That's right. Yeah, yeah. I got
So how did I'm just curious. I know this is off topic, but how did COVID
COVID.
go in Australia? I haven't heard. I don't. We all suck here in the
Realistically,
United States, so I'm just curious what happened there.
realistically, I guess it depends on which side of the fence you sit on. Our case numbers were probably some of the best in the world, and that's whether I don't know whether you believe it or not, but totally fine either way. We had some of the strictest lockdowns, which, I mean, if you look at the two stats, it means it probably worked,
Yeah.
and that's good. But like I live in a city where we have a few million people, and we haven't had a case for months, and I was not allowed
Wow.
out of my house.
Well, I'm not going to get political on my show because I'm not allowed to, according to my partner in crime. But we had a moron for a president who screwed up our whole COVID thing. So what can I say? But anyway, um,
Yeah. So I guess the moral of the story is we had a very strict lockdowns, and I guess, like I said, whether it be a direct relation or coincidence, whichever one you want to believe, totally fine. Our case numbers were really quite good. We weren't affected too much. But yeah, I had to have a work permit to leave the house. So my friend arranged a work permit so I could come work there on Saturdays with him. And now we don't need work permits or anything. We're allowed to freely live at home. Such
that's
freedoms.
fantastic. I mean, we just got the mask thing, which is huge for us.
Yes.
The fact that we can go
Yes.
places without masks is just huge,
Yeah.
man. It's just total.
That is a
I'm
big
so
relief.
happy things are going to get back to normal now, or at least starting
That's
to.
all everyone
I mean,
wants.
I got
Absolutely.
I got a vaccine. I don't know, about a month ago, and
Yes.
it's even if it's not helping me or in any regards, it's just that
Sure.
the thing that
Yeah. Weight off your shoulders.
that kind of thing. Trump got me the vaccine. We're not doing this, guys. I'm telling you right now, we're not doing this.
I'll bring it back to aquariums.
Yeah, get back to aquariums, guys.
I was fortunate enough to work, and I still am working every Saturday at my local fish shop, and I'd highly recommend it for anyone out there. there's so many pros from it, but one, if not the biggest one, which was like you mentioned before, is just getting to know your local reefers a bit better. They come in, they talk about their tanks, what issues they're facing, what things they've tried. You recommend some things that you would try. You get to learn a lot more about fish and coral. You get pretty good store discounts. You get the ability to go to wholesalers. It just opens up so many doors for you, and it's such a rewarding experience. I really recommend it.
Yeah, you know, I said that in another stream. I was like, guys, you got to support your local fish stores. And I think going to local fish stores is something that is kind of dwindling.
Absolutely.
You know,
and it's a bad path too.
You know, some of these local fish stores, you know, sometimes they're not the cleanest. They don't know what they're doing sometimes.
Sure.
But their job is to keep the livestock alive. They don't make a living if they don't keep it alive. So they have to know something.
Yes.
You know, they got to know something.
Yeah.
And I can tell you we don't have a lot of great fish stores here. Unfortunately, we have one that I really like,
Sure.
but the rest are kind of so. And I'd love to see more here. I'd love to see some more, just some more stuff at the local fish stores. You know, you go to the fish stores, they don't have stuff. You know, I used to go in the fish store, and if I needed like a pH probe, I could just go to a fish store and get one. Now you can't even get them. You know, it's annoying.
Yeah, it's a chicken and egg thing, though, unfortunately, in that you know, they don't get them because people aren't buying them. People are buying them online, but then people buy online because the local fish store doesn't have it.
Right.
So it's a tough thing. I've spent the last maybe 2 or 3 years really trying to promote and help local fish stores. And one thing I did was we ran a series of Frag shows out of local fish stores. So I went to local fish stores all around Australia, which, as we touched on, it's a pretty big country.
That's awesome.
And we brought local reefers in, gave them space in the tank, and we promoted the day, and they sold their frags out of the local fish shop. And it seemed counterproductive at first, because that's the first thing people think was, well, you're taking business away from the local fish shop. They're not going to like that. There was this big divide between garage fraggers and local fish shops, everyone thinking they hate each other, when in reality, all that happened was they built up connections. And I reckon 9 out of 10 people that sold frags at each store built up a connection with the local fish shop. And now they just supply the local fish shop. They're like, I don't really want people coming over to my house and taking up, you know, an hour or 2 of my time during the week. They just want to go into their local fish shop with 100 frags every month and get store credit, walk out with a brand new Neptune Sky LED or something like that. Everyone wins. The store's getting nice, high quality aquaculture frags. Got a good relationship there. They're selling them for store credit, which obviously their retail price is not what they're paying for something, so they're getting a better deal. The customer's getting a better deal. It just ends up working well for everyone.
Yeah, I've always said this. I said this on my channel a few times, but I never give people, or I'm sorry, I never take coral from other people. I just never do. I've always bought my coral and my fish from the same place for 15 years. I mean, I stick to the same place, and I don't buy it from anywhere else. Every time I bought something from anywhere else, something bad happens. Not to say that it was a bad place, or every tank is so much different. You don't know what's in it. So that's just been my opinion. There's a couple questions here I've been kind of passing by, and I just want to answer some of them. Someone asked what your favorite Australian fish is, because you guys have a lot of great, cool fish over there.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Probably my favorite Australian fish would be the Aussie Harlequin tusk.
That's what I got.
That being said, it's never a fish I've had in any of my tanks, just because
it'll eat all the coral.
Yeah, a bit of that. I mean, I've seen quite a few in home tanks that in reef systems that aren't touching coral, but it's a bit of a roll of the dice. That being said, every time I see one, like, how can you not fall in love with the colors of those fish, and then just the attitude on their face. I love to, much like reefing, I was never into photography before, like never owned a camera. I'd only ever used like disposable ones that will sit on a table at like a wedding or something like that. And then when I got into reefing and I started seeing some of the pictures people put up online, I got drawn into taking better pictures of my fish and coral, and that led me down the photography path, which is another really expensive hobby. But long story short, every time I photograph a harlequin tusk and I start working on that picture in Photoshop, my heart melts. Such an incredible fish.
Wait 1 second. Let me see if I can do this. I'm gonna ask the other question while I do this.
Sure. Yeah, let's do it.
Someone asked that I've never heard this before, but someone said in local fish stores there's a mandate or something to quarantine their fish in Australia. I don't know what that means. Is there any truth to that?
Yeah, in Australia, so the fish that imported fish have to be quarantined. Just because I'm not sure what you guys experience, but yeah, the fish that get imported into the country get quarantined. I don't fully know the process. I think it's relatively straightforward, but you do have to be accredited by Australian quarantine and everything like that to be able to import these fish. As far as from a local fish shop point of view, a lot of stores here are moving to doing their own quarantining. Whether it be so they can receive direct imports themselves, or if it's just to improve the health of the fish. We've probably seen a little bit of a decline in the quality of fish over the last 12, 24 months. And
at least they're not doing what they do here, which is going in the ocean and just grabbing stuff. I mean, it happens here. Well, it happens a lot here.
Yeah. We don't have that too much, thankfully, but having worked at my local fish shop, I know firsthand that the local fish shop kind of cops the brunt of that. People like myself will go into a fish shop that know their fish tanks, and they see fish that aren't in optimum health, and they'll kind of tear strips off the local fish shop. When, like, in reality, that fish went into the tank 3 hours ago and came in pretty poor health, and the fish shop's doing everything they can to get it back up to speed. So I guess after a while of sort of copying this brunt, a lot of fish shops now are getting to the point where the fish that come in, hey, there he is, the harlequin tusk. A lot of fish shops are getting to the point now where the new fish they receive, they won't even put on display. They'll put into a quarantine system out the back, and they'll keep it there for 2, 3, 4 weeks, whether they're doing tank transfer or some other process to get the fish up to optimum health before putting on display for sale. That's great, but man, the hobbyist has to be willing to pay the price too for the extra time, effort it takes to do that. And funnily enough, people want to pay the minimum price, but they want the optimum health. And you kind of got to go one way or the other. You got to either get a cheap sick fish or an expensive high quality fish.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I order everything from the same place. They quarantine, from my understanding. Rob just mentioned one of the places I buy stuff from. I only buy my clams from a place called Pacific East Aquaculture here in the United States, and it's fantastic. They have some of the coolest, most rare clams ever. I don't know where they get them from, but man, I get my fish from a certain place, and I haven't had any issues, since I've done that. So this is a picture of my harlequin tusk. I have one. And I wanted this is a really cool picture because I took it with a camera, like you said, that I had no idea what I was doing, and I got the teeth and everything. It's really cool.
Beautiful.
So Colt asked what clams I have. If you look at my couple of my videos, I have my squamosa and my maxima clam, and they're really cool. Let's see. So not many people have said what they want for the giveaway. I just want to let you know. I've been watching, and you're going to have a tough time, dude, if they can't come up with some ideas.
Yeah, I'm kind of sweating at the thought of it because I have no idea as to what kind of range we're talking here. So we'll have to see. I did see a question about why are cleaner shrimp so expensive in Australia. Okay. That's a good question. I did mention earlier we can't import corals into Australia. We also cannot import invertebrates. So all snails, crabs, shrimps, everything has to be collected from Australian waters. And cleaner shrimp are not quite as abundant as they are in other parts of the world. So they're a little bit rarer to collect. I shouldn't say rare. I mean, they're not rare. They're just maybe not as abundant as other parts of the world. So when they get collected here, yeah, they're fairly expensive. We're talking like around 50 Australian dollars for a cleaner shrimp, which is 110, 120 US dollars. It's a fair bit of money, which I know you guys are paying like maybe 20.
For shrimp, yeah, I can go to a
Yeah.
local fish store and they got thousands of them, dude.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
thousands of them.
For cleaner shrimps, we probably a good collection at a local fish shop would be like 3 or 4.
Oh wow! Someone wants you to give away a Cage Guardian? No. Or an Alcatronic? No.
No, you give away yours, Derek.
Give away my Reefbot? Screw that.
Save you blowing it up.
Well, yeah, we could give away my Reefbot when it comes time to blow it up. I can blow it up and then send it to whoever wins. We could do that.
That way everyone can win. You could send everyone a piece.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I didn't think about it. All my subs get a piece of the broken Reefbot. It'll cost a lot of money, and that'll cost a lot of money in shipping, but it'll be funny.
Would be funny.
Be a collector's item. Let's see. Anybody else have some good questions here for Sam?
There's one there on which kind of corals sell a lot in Australia. Yeah, we kind of, I don't know what it's like over in the States, but I feel like in Australia we go through coral of the month almost. There's something that comes in trend. Yeah. And again, it's something that I've only really noticed since working in my local fish store that for 1 month there, man, we could not keep a Recordia on the shelf. Like any single one we put out there, whether it be an ultra high-end rainbow thing or whether it be just run-of-the-mill green or even a brown or grey rick, we'd sell them within seconds of putting on the shelf. And then, a month later, no one's interested in a rick and they all want zoas. And zoas are the craze and we're just selling zoas left, right, and center. And then
like a fad.
After that, yeah, it just sort of happens like that. And then it's, it's Acropora, then it's LPS, then it's whatever it may be. It's real odd. So I don't really know what drives those crazes. And I wish I could predict them because you could probably make pretty good money in buying stuff cheap when it's not in fashion and then selling it for a price when it is in fashion. But yeah, we sell a good gamut of all sorts of different things down here, really.
Yeah, I see a couple questions, guys. We answered a lot of this already in the beginning. He talked about his Phillips Coral Care, and we talked about a Sky a lot. And we talked about controllers. But Peter Carter is asking, Sam, what's next for your tank? Any cool tech you're going to be doing?
Yeah, good one. Next thing for my tank really is just give it some time. Everything's there. Everything's just doing what it should do. And I feel like it's about 6 months ahead of where it probably should be. The tank's only been wet for 6 months now, and I'm getting some really good encrusting and growth and coloration from my SBS, which realistically, from a brand new sterile system, I don't expect to see until at least the 12-month mark. So I'm trying not to get ahead of myself there and just trying not to rock the boat. It's obviously in a formula where it's happy now, so just let it do its thing. But yeah, who knows? I am keen to get my hands on a JHL ion probe to test that. Mm-hmm. Well, and then from there, you and
everybody else. But every time I hear it's coming out, that's a year later. Oh, it's coming out. Oh, a year later. It's coming. Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't pre-ordered one or anything like that, so I don't expect to get my hands on one first. But that being said, I've got a couple connections here that might help me get a loan of one at least.
I need some connections. Because I haven't got my Mastertronic, and
says the guy with the Sky LED on his tank that's been there for 5 months.
Well, that's because I applied. I had to fill out an application to become an SI member. The Mastertronic.
I'd say you've got decent connections.
The Mastertronic has been out. And no one in the United States apparently can get one. So
yeah, that is odd. So I know there's at least a couple in Australia. So I would have expected there to be a few dozen in America at least. But I guess once I won't purchase any automated tester until I've tested the ion probe, and then from there I'll purchase something. Because I mentioned in my videos, I honestly didn't think they were any good, whether you're talking Reefbot, Mastertronic, Ion Probe. I thought we were still probably a good couple of years off them being to the level they need to be of any use. There's no use having something doing automated testing if the data it gives you is completely untrustable. Waiting for the Reefbot call.
Yeah.
I've been highly impressed, and I'm at the point now where I'm ready to spend money on one, but I just want to wait and see which one.
So the Ion Director, and forgive me, I've done research, but every time I do research, it's like, what's the point? Because it's never coming out. It doesn't do phosphates, does it? It can't test phosphates.
Let me have a look. No, it can't test phosphate. No.
So that's kind of a downer.
Yeah, it's not too bad. Did your phosphate change that much?
No, but still a downer.
So what does it do? It does calcium, magnesium, potassium, sodium, and nitrate. It's really the calcium, magnesium, potassium would be handy too, but I guess nitrate's something that will give you a heads up if something is dying in the tank.
Yeah, nitrate's probably a good one. Iodine. I think iodine is one of those things that people should be testing for that don't. I think iodine's a big one. I test for iodine.
And that's one that does change drastically too. That it just evaporates from your tank so quickly.
Yeah, I test iodine with my Reefbot.
Yes.
And I actually dose iodine. That's one of the only things I dose.
Nice.
Someone wants an Ecotech wave pump. That's an interesting one. I saw someone wants something that I'm definitely not getting, people. It was something ridiculous again. Oh, a Sky. They want me to get them a Sky. That's right. Yeah, and that's not happening.
Unfortunately not. So I don't know. Again, like we talked about with the Coral Cares and the Sky LEDs, I don't want to make a judgment call on the Ion Director until I've actually had one in my hands, which I know is pretty unfair because a lot of people don't get the ability to get these in their hands and play with them for a month before deciding to make a purchase. But I guess that's kind of my responsibility with the channel to try and be the eyes and hands for other people and give them an honest thought on whether it's a good system or not.
Yeah, I did that. I don't know if you had time. It's a long series, but I did that Apex versus GHL series. I bought both of those products, which are expensive, $800 a pop. And I went through everything you can go through with both of them. But it was well worth it because I thought I really helped a lot of people. At least I hope I did. Yeah. Someone asked what's a good doser for dosing trace elements. I really like the GHL dosers. I think they're fantastic. Obviously, I have Dose, which I like. They're loud, they're big, and there's only 2 of them. So,
when we're talking trace elements, are we talking like minor trace, or are we talking like?
He's talking. It looks like he's talking about the Red Sea, ABCD trace.
Sure. Look, to be honest, any high quality dose is going to do the job there. I quite like Kamoa. Their software is a little quirky, but their hardware is bulletproof. You can get some really high quality Kamoa doses, and they work well. Otherwise, if you're talking like trace, I did have a little while ago on a nano tank where I was dosing like minor trace elements using syringe driver pumps, and they were capable of doing like 3 decimal places of a milliliter.
Oh wow!
So you could dose minute amounts of things very, very accurately.
I have the Kamor FX STP pump. I have it for dripping calc, and you can get it to like. I have it at 3.1. Like you can get it to exactly where you want it. Fantastic pumps, guys, but it's only one pump, so and they're expensive. So
they are.
You wouldn't want 4 of those.
That's more of a continuous duty pump. Those though that are really good for just say calc or calcium reactors or water changes, things like that.
Okay, so we're at about an hour and a half, a little bit longer than when I normally go, and you just ate breakfast, so you got to start your day. I gotta get ready for
I can hear my daughter having a tantrum in the background about something. So that'll be fun.
Oh, so much fun. That's why I have no kids. So, guys, I have to be honest with you. You haven't really helped us here. What you want? So I love the gift card one. The gift card one makes me laugh. Let me tell you why. Because anyone can put any number they want and say, get a gift card for 1,000, get a gift card for 30, get a gift. Come on, guys. It's got to be a part. It's got to be something.
Let's see. People are talking about the new Hannah nitrate checker. Apparently, they announced the high range yesterday. Can you give away Sam's tank? No, we can't give that away.
They announced a high range. I just heard that. But again, if they just released it, guys, how am I supposed to buy it? Like, I'm not. I don't have like these connections. Like, I don't get it. Although I sell Neptune, so I can get Neptune stuff.
You can get Neptune. You got a few things there.
They probably announced it at RAP, and if you guys don't know, at RAP they announce stuff that won't come out probably for a year sometimes. You know, it's just what happens.
Yeah, that is the challenge, unfortunately.
Someone wants
why don't you give me
some feed.
Give me a few things to pick from, and I'll pick one from there.
All right, let me look. I like the AFS. That's a good, relatively inexpensive product. I'm not going to give away the FMM because it's not really that great of a product to give away. Neptune ATO someone wanted. That's a good one. I can do that one. Someone wants a gift card to Top Shelf Aquatics, but we're not going to do gift cards, guys. Neptune Wave, that's a good one. I know they're all Neptune. I'm trying to search through everything to kind of get just a good.
No, it's got to work for you as well. So that's fun with me.
Yeah, but I'm trying to find something that's not Neptune. Not many people put much. I'm looking. No, we're not giving away his coral care lights.
No, I spent way too long mounting them. You're not getting them.
After he continuously said how much he loves his coral care lights. Yes, let's give them away. That's what we should do.
Not going to happen.
Oh, not to mention, if he did give them away, it would cost me $2,000 probably in shipping.
Yeah, they're flipping heavy lights because they're solid. There's no fans. Yeah. They're just solid aluminium. So, yeah, shipping's not fun with them.
Power meter's a little too expensive. Hydros Control 4. Someone wants an AI Nero 3. I can do that. I can do an MP10, not an MP40. That's a little much, guys. I already sold my old lights, Billy, about 6 months ago when I got the Varios pump. That's a good one. Varios pump. I can get you guys a Varios pump.
All right, so let's have a look. We'll narrow it down to what do we have? The Neptune auto feeder, the AI Nero 3. What were some of the other ones that were in the
There was the running? ATK. The ATK.
ATK. Yeah, that's a good one. Yep.
Yeah, I'll do a Control 2. Hydros Control 2. We can put that on the list. That's
Control 2. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let me have a look. Let me put a quick list together, and I'll do a random.
So everyone wants the Varios isn't that great of an idea, but it was decent. No, J Fusion. I'm not giving away a dose. That's a little bit too much, guys.
Yeah, that is getting up there. Hey, what's supply like of those over there? Have you got good access to dose at the moment? We can't get our whole hands on them down here.
Everything Neptune is pretty flush for me, being a dealer. I can get just about anything. Apex Grow, that's not a bad idea, C. Mathis. I don't know many people that would want that though. Not many people have refugiums.
The Fuge Light, yeah. All right, so I got the auto top off, auto feeder, Varios Control 2, and we'll put the Grow in there as well. And then there was the Nero 3. I'll add that.
Nero, the Nero 3 is a good one.
All right, let's. They got a number each. Let me quickly run a random.
Notice, Steven. Steven said MP10 costs more than a dose. Notice I said maybe an Ecotech MP10.
All right, let's have a look. We have number 2 on the list. Number 2 on the list is the auto feeder. Let's go with that.
Okay, guys. If you don't want the auto feeder, blame him. This is why you did this.
This is why I got the responsibility of picking the prize.
That's right.
All
right, guys. So the winner
round trip to Australia. Wow.
So the winner today is going a trip to Australia. Yeah. Okay, guys. Yeah.
I win that. I'll do the round trip of Australia.
All right, guys. So the winner today is going to win an auto feeder, which I have a lot of them. I love them. They're a little on the loud side, but they work great, you know. And if you got a Neptune,
they're feeding.
Yeah, but they're wonderful for someone that has an Apex that wants to add something. So this is a good choice, Sam. Good choice.
Yeah, doing my best.
Pick me because I asked for it. Jay Fusion, aren't you the guy that was yelling at me about my political joke that I made? Yeah, I think you're going to the bottom of the list. All right, here we go. If he wins, that'll be funny. That has happened before, by the way. I said this person better not win, and all of a sudden he won. I'm not even kidding. All right, let's go. Where is it going? What's going on here, guys? Oh, I pushed it too many times. Darn it. Okay.
It's good.
The winner
the
today.
first one, then.
Yeah, well, I can't be the winner. I was the winner.
True. Oh, yes, you can't have that. Looks like Rogue Aquarium's won then.
Yes, Rogue Aquarium's won, and then Eddie Lush. So Rogue, Darren, you won, buddy. If you won, you have to say something. You have to be here. So hopefully you're still here. Otherwise, it's gonna.
I know he had to work, but he did pop in earlier.
Yeah, or Eddie Lush will be the second prize winner, and then third prize just happens to be Jay Fusion, which we know is here. So Rogue, say something. Eddie Lush, say something. If neither of you say something, guess who wins? I told you, it happens.
It does happen.
It's crazy. It happened once before, too.
We've got 48 people online just daring you to press the button again.
Well, I pressed it like 6 times accidentally, if you didn't notice.
Yeah, but none of them had their name, so they're like, just keep going to get my name. I want that auto feeder.
One time I gave away 3 prizes, and
Jeez.
Yeah, I pushed it a bunch of times, and it was pretty funny. Well, Jay Fusion, buddy, you win, man.
Hey,
you win. Job. You win the AFS, the thing you wanted. That's pretty amazing. I got to be honest. So Fusion, get a hold of me on Facebook. Don't say anything about Trump. Get a hold of me on Facebook, and you won an AFS, buddy. Yeah, who says politics doesn't pay? Right, exactly.
No, but that's good. I mean, at least you know the prize is going to be it's going somewhere where they're going to use it. There's nothing worse than you give away something and then 2 minutes later you see it on Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's going to go to a good home. It's going to get
before we leave, I'm going to give you 2 short stories about what you just said. One time, this is a horrible thing I'm about to say, but one time I had Vinny from GHL on, okay, and the giveaway was a Provolux, a complete set. That was the giveaway. The winner of the Provolux said to me, I don't want it, give me an Apex instead. And I got him an Apex instead. The second one is even worse. The second one's even worse. He doesn't come on my streams anymore. I'm not going to say his name either. Someone won my used calcium reactor. Okay? It was a $1,500 calcium reactor. And I gave it away because of all kinds of things. But I gave it away.
Oh, yeah. I know the backstory of this. Yes.
Yeah. And he literally sold it to someone like a month later. And for like $900. And I'm like, dude, you sold my calcium reactor for $900 and you're not giving me any of the money? Like, yes, it was a giveaway, but come on, man. It's ridiculous. Anyway.
It's a dilemma.
Yeah. So, guys, thank you so much for coming. Sam, really had fun with you, man. We're going to have to do this again sometime.
I enjoyed it. You bet. Yeah, anytime.
I'm so glad we were able to get a time worked out. And I hope you get to see some of my stuff. I love watching your stuff. I love watching your reviews are great, man. I don't watch a lot of the other stuff, but I watch the reviews. I love the reviews.
Sure thing. Yeah.
And yeah, I'm gonna do a review on this Sky, and I'm gonna be doing a review on something else. And I follow your lead, man. How you do your reviews, because
Go for it, dude. I'm really
top
keen to see the
notch.
review on that Sky, because, as you say, we literally every one of us out there has an opinion on it, with
I
very little to
know.
base that opinion on.
It's
So
not gonna be a
I'm keen to see.
review. It's not gonna be a review. It's gonna be more of a hands-on look at the
Perfect.
Sky.
Even
And
better.
as for your
Yeah.
Reefbot, I wish you luck on that Reefbot video. I hope you don't get a lot of trolls.
It is
They
what it
suck.
is. It is what it is. The video is out. If anyone's curious on seeing it, it's live on my channel now. So pop on over and check out my experience with the Reefbot, which
I'm gonna watch it. Don't worry.
seemingly seems to be quite a lucky experience. But yeah.
You're lucky. Yeah. Lucky is an understatement. But yes, Sam, thank you again so much. I really appreciate
No
it.
dramas.
And yeah, guys, we got Paul from Neptune coming next week, and we got a couple other really good ones. Sam, hopefully you get to watch them.
Yeah, no, keen as.
You know, I know my streams are at like 1 a.m. your time, but what can you do? Stay up
We'll make
late.
it work. Don't worry. I will. I
Alrighty,
will. Thank
man.
you.
You guys have a good
Cheers.
one.